Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. Come into the room, come into the room. So, for those that know me, you know I like to give 2 minutes of grace. Two. All right. So, let's let everyone come into the room. I am slowly but surely admitting all. And while we're waiting for others to join us, please in the chat, might be over to your right, okay, depends on how you have your screen set up. Tell me where you're from. Where are you joining us from this evening? Texas, Florida, Maui. Oh, Alyssa, I spoke with you earlier. Pittsburgh, PA in the house, Idaho, Alabama, Virginia, Arizona. Let me scroll back up. I think I missed a few. North Carolina, Kansas City, Arkansas. Wow, Philly in the house. Okay. All right, you guys. Okay, so we have a plethora of people from all over the place. Pennsylvania, Tennessee. Hey, wow, you guys are coming from all over the place. So one thing about what we're doing tonight doesn't matter where you live. Isn't that something that's already different than what we are accustomed to, right? Virginia. Daughter's in Virginia. Did I get a California yet? I have another daughter in Cali. We didn't get California yet. All right, so we still have a few that we're still waiting to get admitted into the room. All right, so everyone is in, and I have 7:32. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I do not believe in wasting anyone's time. So give me a second and let me set up our presentation for this evening. And I'm going to have to keep checking over here to make sure I am getting people that are trying to come into the room. I'm going to be doubly looking tonight. All right, give me a second. Let me get our presentation set up. As you can see, I don't have many slides because I do not believe in long meetings. Those that know me, you know, I like to just let's get right in there, do what we need to do, and get on out. Okay. All right. So, welcome to Land and Soil Property Group. I am so excited. You don't understand. We are making history. No, I am serious. We are making history. We are literally the first converted real estate company that is converting over to the land. No one has done this yet. No one. So I am so excited. I'm just excited that um, I was anointed and appointed to do this. All right. So let's just get jump started. Make sure no one's in the room waiting to come in. Okay, we're good there. All right. So let's just jump right into our agenda for this evening. And first, again, I just want to say welcome to you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for making history with me. Thank you for expanding your minds to be able to embrace something new. And you know, sometimes something new is not always easy, right? It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Okay. And so let me just give you an introduction of just who I am. And when you begin to hear my journey, you'll begin to understand how I am where I am right now. All right. So I was a public school teacher. Okay. And my principal saw something in me. He was like a father figure to me, and he saw something in me. And he said, you know, you'll make a great real estate agent. Well, I didn't know anything about a real estate agent or real estate. I didn't know anything about homes or anything about that. Even though I had a home, because he was my agent when I got my home, I was clueless to any of that information. And so when you guys see me looking over to the side, that means I'm letting people into the room. And so I trusted him, because he was like a father figure to me. And I did what he told me to do. He said, so do this. I want you to, take the classes here, and then you're going to take your tests. And I did everything the way that he said, and I became a real estate agent in 2001. So began working for a company called Century 21. And while matriculating as a real estate agent, the broker, for those that don't know, a broker is synonymous to a principal. So, what a principal is to a school, that's what a broker is to a real estate brokerage or real estate company, right? So they saw something in me, and I don't know, I just like to be organized. I like to have everything like bam, 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 very structured, so everybody can have the easy journey and matriculating through whatever they're trying to do. And so again, they saw that in me and they encouraged me to go and get my broker's license as soon as I had reached year 3. So for those that know, in order to be a broker in many states, you have to have been an agent for 3 years. So I did what they told me to do. Okay. And I literally became a broker at year 5. And you might say, well, I thought you said, they told you year 3 they did, but I flunked the test 3 times. The broker's test. It was so hard. It was just so difficult. And I went to my teacher, my instructor, and I said, Mr. Hart, I keep failing this test. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. He said, well, show me what you're studying. So I showed him what I was studying. I was studying all of the math. I wanted to know, understand that money. He said, you need to study the law. When I studied the law, I passed the test with a 97 or 98, one of those. So, anyway, I became a broker. And so I actually became the general managing broker for Century 21 while I was still teaching. I literally was managing 5 offices, 5 real estate offices. They had them in different locations and over 200 agents. And I was still teaching. And some of you might say, wait a minute, I know that's just like humanly impossible for anybody to do that. But you know what? I love telling this story, and it's the truth because when you love what you do, you never get tired. You don't get exhausted. I loved what I was doing. I love managing and helping the agents and putting structures for them to make money, money, and more money, and beautifying the offices that I was managing, and bringing in that sense of family. I did all of that, and the company kept growing and growing and growing to the point, like I said, we had reached 200 agents, combined with all of those offices. And I was still teaching, but I did realize something had to give. And I decided to leave teaching and go into real estate full time. Now, when you're a teacher, that never leaves you. So I became a real estate instructor in addition to being a managing broker. And I was a managing broker all the way up to 2018 for other offices. I even managed, for those of you who know the group New Edition, the tall guy in the center, Ronnie DeVell, I managed Ronnie's office from 2006 all the way to 2018, where I decided it was time for me to go out on my own, and I did. And when I went out on my own, I expanded. I began my real estate company called Tri-State Luxury Group, and I expanded it to 4 states. We started in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, had just broke into California, and I even had done some client transactions in Dubai. I was really out there. Real estate instructor in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. So I'm telling you, I was very, very deep into real estate. And while I was working my everyday life, like we all, we have a life, job, family, so on and so forth. I began this journey. And when I began this journey, it took me to places I never thought I would go. It took me on a road of understanding and really knowing who I am. And out of all of my life, I never really truly knew who I was until I started this journey. And this is the journey of becoming status corrected. Now, some of you here tonight, you are probably status corrected. You know exactly what it means to come to the land. And some of you on here, you've heard about it, but you never really, understood, but you do have a little understanding about it. And some of you right now are clueless to everything I just said. I'm not going to give you a status correction orientation because I do those every Friday. That's not what this meeting is about. But in order for you to understand what Land and Soil Property Group is, I have to give you a little bit of understanding of it. So when a person corrects their status, changes their status, becomes status corrected, papers up, you might have heard it called a lot of these different things. What they're doing is they're literally just changing their status back to who they were when they were born. That's all you're doing. You are literally correcting what you were pulled out of. And you're correcting your status to who God says you were when you were born. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's literally all we're doing. We're putting you back in a state of giving you your unalienable rights that God gave you when you were born and that have been taken from you. Right? So when you go through the process, it's such a beautiful process. You can feel the weight of the world literally lifting off of you. Now, I'm not going to tell you any tales and make you feel as though that it's all easy because as you become status corrected, you have to begin to come out of a world that you were born into, that you didn't have an understanding of, that you were placed into, and that you indoctrinated into. And it's not fair to you. Okay. And you have to have an understanding of that whole process of what they did and how they did it. And that's the world you have to begin to unravel to come up out of. Okay. So to make a long story short, again, I do an orientation on that every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm on YouTube. I even have something called The Private Show. I do little small segments and explaining just a little component of living in the private life, living privately, living as a status corrected American. Okay. So we can deal with that another time. But what I want to get you to understand at this point that when you become status corrected and you truly are fully engulfed in being a sovereign, okay? We don't have businesses, we don't have LLCs, we don't pay taxes, we don't pay bills, we don't do anything in the corporate de facto mindset or government. Okay. We live in a sovereign state with the authority that God has given to us as natural men, natural women to run the land, to rule the land. He granted us the authority of that. And the de facto knows that because they had actually stated with a proclamation that the Bible is considered the word of God. It's the factual document. So if they said it's a factual document, then we need to be living in the state that the factual document states that we are and who we are. Okay. And so understanding that when I began to again dive more into who I am, and when I began to have a thorough understanding of who I am, I couldn't do it anymore because one thing about this information, you can't unlearn it. You cannot unlearn it. And I always say that so people can understand when you begin to have a thorough understanding of all of this, your mind will be blown. You'll go through so many different emotions. You'll be hurt. You'll be upset. You'll feel deceived. Then you'll be happy and you'll be glad because you realize who you are. But then you're dealing with the deception and the hurt and the pain from all of this. And it goes over and over and over and over again. And as a real estate agent, real estate broker, real estate instructor, when I learned this information, I learned that I had lied all of my real estate career. I was set up to be a puppet and trained puppet. And I was a darn good puppet. I taught other people how to be a real estate puppet, to take information and carry it and indoctrinate other people, not really understanding what was going on. I had no idea that no one ever owned their homes. They never owned their land, that we were literally put into a system of just paper, owning paper. And even in the paper, it states that you're a tenant for 99 years. Whoever reads that thick packet of mortgage documents that you get at a closing, who really reads that? Well, when you take the time to read it, you will see that it states that. And not only does it state that you are a tenant for 99 years, some might say, well, my property's paid off. I have the deed and everything free and clear. No, you don't. You know why? Because now that tenancy document contract has literally just turned into a lease purchase now. You have to ask yourself the question, you never own anything if you have to pay someone for it. So if you're paying property taxes and they can take it from you if you don't pay the property taxes, do you really own it? No. No, you don't own it because they, again, have you thinking, they put you in a mindset to believe that you own something with pieces of paper when you're not truly owning the land and making you pay for something that they said that you owe through property taxes. Okay. We're not going to get into the word mortgage right now. That's a whole nother line. We're going to deal with that for the agents converted to consultants that come over. So now you get an understanding in a just a foundation of why we're here today. It was from me making the decision that I could no longer lie to people. It was from me making the decision that I had to do something. And it was from me making a decision. I didn't see anybody else doing it, and I knew I had to be the one. So understand all of this is new. It's new for me. It's new for you. This has never been done before. Why am I saying this? Are we going to experience bumps in the road in areas that we may not understand? Of course we are. Yes. Just like when I started my own business, my own real estate companies, when I expanded into all these different states, I experienced bumps in the road, but they weren't that bad. We were able to get over every last bump that I was faced with, we were faced with. And I know the same is going to be true for this, but this is going to be so much better because God has given us the control. God has granted us the authority. And it's such a pureness that's with this, as opposed to when I was working in the de facto, had to have the business license, had to make sure I did my recertifications every 4 years, and I had to take this class and had to take that class and I had to keep up with that and I had to process the new agents and oh they didn't take their classes so now they lost their life. All of that is over with. I don't have to worry about any of that. I have to have insurances and blase, 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 blase. Just it's so much. And when I converted it over to the land and the soil, it was just peace. And not only that, now being able to teach others. So let me see if she's in the class here. Let me see if my teacher is in here. She is. Okay. I want to introduce you guys before we go to the next part to a lady that took her time out and she taught me for 3 months. Miss Ruth, can you unmute yourself? Are you able to do it? I'm giving you the mic.
Yep, I'm
There you
here.
go. Miss Ruth.
You're doing wonderfully.
Thank you so much, you guys. Miss Ruth, you want to just give a little introduction of who you are and your background?
Well, no. We don't need me in there. I'm so proud of you. You're doing great. I hope you keep it up, and
Okay.
good luck to all the rest of your audience.
Thank you so much, Miss Ruth. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Okay. Well, you guys, that's Miss Ruth. So I just want to thank Miss Ruth from the bottom of her heart, you guys. And I'm telling you, we did so many classes that my mind was blown away. I felt like I was back in college courses again. But she took the time. She was so patient. The things that I didn't understand, she went back through it over and over and over again. She has done it for such a long time. She's helped so many people. So if you hear people say that this is not true, it is true. It is true. And if it wasn't true, Ms. Ruth would not have made sure that for 3 months, to make sure that I understood this, okay, this information. So I promise you, we are in good hands. Because anything I don't understand, I have a mentor I can go to that's going to assist me in any crevices that we get into that we're not sure of. All right. Ms. Ruth, thank you so much for popping on. All right. So now where do we go from here? Remember, I told you education is a must. It's a must. So just like Miss Ruth took 3 months to help me to understand this, I'm not going anywhere. And we're going to stick and stay in this until we get it. All right. So we know education is important. Education is so important. And I will be honest with you. I will only be able to assist those who are status corrected. And let me explain to you why, because this could be very, very dangerous for those who are still in a state of being a United States citizen because they consider you property. You're property to them. They own you. Okay. And again, I'm not going to get into the whole status correction orientation. I do that on Friday. I'm just trying to give you an overview. So, status correction orientation is going to be an important component of this because you have to understand who you are so you can walk in the authority. Okay. We're going to have quarterly sessions. So, in our quarterly sessions, this is where I'm actually going to teach the material to you that will begin to help you move through the process of being able to have a loaded title for your homes and your land. All right. And I say quarterly because the classes are going to be lengthy. Remember, I told you it took me 3 months to learn it. So, with what Miss Ruth has taught me, I've been able to kind of condense it down into sessions. Okay. I'm not sure about how many classes we're going to do in a session, but we will do a session every quarter. So 4 times a year. All right. Now, let me talk about, and this is for anybody. This is for anybody. I don't care if you're an investor, homeowner, you just want to figure out what's going on with this. That's open to everybody. Now, let me talk about the group, the Land and Soil Property Group. Okay. You are going to be the agents slash converting to consultants. Remember, we're not going to use that terminology as American state nationals, okay, as status corrected men and women, natural men and women on the land, right? So our real estate agents that are converting over to land and soil consultants, okay? It's going to take everything we have to get you to understand how to take what you've learned as a real estate agent and now transfer you over to do similar, okay, similar things, how you've done it in that world, but yet different. Okay, so you might be saying, well, we get a commission, will we, it's going to be the same, set up the same way. It's not going to be set up the same way because the pricing of this is not the same. Okay, because remember now we're doing a service where people will be able to own their homes free and clear. Okay, and so that takes me to the next part. Oh, let me talk about that for a minute, the date. So our meeting for those who want to be real estate agents slash land consultants. Okay. And I'm going to keep putting the two together until we make the total conversion in our minds. Okay. The total conversions in our minds. So I'm going to keep reminding you that we're converting, but right now I know we understand real estate. That's all we've heard. and we'll talk about what the real really means, okay? Because it's actually a derivative of another word, royal. But again, it's going down a rabbit hole we don't have time for tonight. So we'll have a meeting on November 26th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is only for those who are in the real estate world. You have some understanding of real estate world, and you want to now come over to convert your knowledge as a land and soil consultant. Okay. Now, some have asked me, well, I don't have any understanding. I do own a home, and I would like to become a consultant. If you want to come to that call, by all means. I'm not going to stop you because that's one thing as an American state national, we self-govern. So who am I to tell you what you can and can't do and what you can learn, what you cannot learn? Not doing it. You are welcome to. But I just want you to understand this space is mostly going to be those who have actually operated in that world. Okay. All right. So let me stop for a minute. Let me look at a lot going on in the chat. Let me see what's going on here. See if I have any questions that I've missed. Okay, let me see. Does this pertain to reverse mortgages as well? We'll get into the mortgages and all of that, I promise you. So, okay, so Jeannie is already breaking it down in Latin, you till death. That's right. Oh my Lord, that's right. All the fees for National Association of Realtors. We don't have any of that. Isn't that beautiful? I have an elderly woman that is in a reverse mortgage that I'm trying to help. Okay. Um, Roughly how long is the webinars? Each webinar is probably going to be no more than, and I'm going to say max 90 minutes because after so much information, your mind starts breaking down. Now, those that know me, they know I don't like long meetings. I just can't stand them. In fact, I'm going to be ending this one real soon. Okay. But with this material, we have to take our time. And so with that, I'm going to say that between 60 minutes and 90 minutes. Okay. All right. Come on to the land and soil. Thank you putting in the TASA website. All right. I've been studying Ryan Gibson, so this is exciting to see how in alignment these processes would be. Yes. Can you please repeat the time? November 26th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and I will give you the link in just a second. You're not going to want to do Ryan Gibson. Oh, not going to talk about that. Okay. What if you're already okay? Listen, Ron Gibson is, an authority in the allodial title. Okay, we're going to give him his hours because he's done the work. Um, I don't want to talk about what we're doing and kind of parallel it or make it synonymous because it's different. It's different. And the reason I know it's different because I have Ron Gibson's information. I had Ron Gibson's information before I was connected to Miss Ruth. Okay. It's totally different. That's all I can tell you. The understanding is much deeper, much deeper, much deeper. Okay. All right. I think I got all of the questions. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's now go to the money. I'm still trying to figure this part out. Remember, I told you everything is so new. So this part I'm still trying to figure out, but I can tell you what I do know and what I get myself. So when I became an American State National, we all get the opportunity to open up a bank account with something called global banking, okay, global family bank. So I opened up the account again, not knowing I'm just following the directions that everybody's telling me to do. And all of a sudden, I look in there and I started to get $5,000 deposits. And I was like, what in the world? What is going on here? Okay. I was like mind blown. I mean, literally, so every month we get $5,000. And let me explain to you what the money is. Okay. The currency is. We get $5,000 a month, AFD, which is called American Federation dollars. This is the actual lawful money. Okay. And for those that know, and again, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but the little dollars, $5, $10, if you look on there, it states this is legal tender to be paid for your debts in the public and the private. It's legal tender, and then it has at the top that it's called a Federal Reserve note. That is not money. Okay, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. We do the orientation every Friday. Okay, but what I will tell you is that we get $5,000 a month American Federation dollars. So if you begin to look at the comparison, one American Federation dollar is equal to 180 United States dollars. All right. So right now, and again, I'm not going to dive in that because that'll take us down another rabbit hole that we don't have time for tonight. As time goes on, we all are going to learn all of this. You're going to begin to experience it. It's beautiful. But right now, they are working on a conversion, okay, to be able to go and convert that money into other currencies. Okay, US dollar, I don't care where you're going, you'll be able to convert it. Okay, so right now, let's just take my account. I don't mind saying how much I have. I have $15,000 as of right now sitting in my account. So if I were to convert that right now, and they turn on that button, which they are actually working on as we speak, that will convert over to 2.7 million United States dollars. Right? So this is the path where we're going. And I don't want to talk too much about money as far as the beauty of the money, but where it comes to home ownership and land ownership, understand what that will do. Where you can just go and literally just pick a house that you want and be able to pay for it. This is where we're going. So we, being the first, have to begin to put things in place to be able to purchase with American Federation dollars and special endorsements. That's another area that we need to begin to massage because there are enough American state nationals out there now that will participate in this type of exchange. So that's why Land and Soil Property Group, real estate agents slash land consultants. Okay, eventually I'm going to drop the real estate name. We're just going to be land and soil property consultants. Okay, that's why we have to start now. We got to get in place. So when these exchanges begin and we're able to start helping people and assisting them, now that is your money that you'll begin to make on the land. That's your income. You're working in your gift, you're working in your skill that God has granted you and you're doing the work. It says, study to show thyself approved, right? My people perish for lack of knowledge. So we're going to move in position so we can be blessed because we're going to do our work and we're going to do our time. Just like I told you for 3 months, I was diligent. I showed up when Ms. Ruth asked me to show up. I did my homework assignments. I was very, very, very deliberate in doing everything she told me to do so I could be blessed. And in turn, I know that she's blessed when she sees everything that's happening here this evening. Okay. So let me go to the next slide and we're going to be out of here. And I am going to answer some of your questions that I can answer. Okay. You might ask me something that I simply just can't answer because we're just so new into this. So this is the website, landandsoilpropertygroup.com. Okay. If you go there, go ahead and subscribe. It's just a one pager right there. I just want to get your information. So if you register tonight, I do have your information for these meetings, right? But I want you to go ahead because we're going to start a newsletter where I will be able to actually get you specific information just for Land and Soil Property Group, okay? Just related to this. So if you'll go to landandsoilpropertygroup.com and just put in your email address, you'll be on the list for that. That's going to be very important. Okay. Now, status correction orientation. If you're clueless to any of this, if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, we do an orientation every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, where I really break down the fraud. And I have receipts to show you where I've had debts that have been paid. Okay, I have receipts. Okay, and for those that have been in the class, they know I have receipts. I show you. All right, I can show you the benefit of it if it's done right. It has to be done right. Okay, that's the Zoom meeting ID. So take a picture of that, 876-8159-4695. Okay. The meetings are recorded. And don't forget, we're on YouTube as well. Is there a place to find another time? Yes, CC Burns. And again, I have your information so we can make sure that you get that. Okay. Um, the American state is not about making money, but about reinstating true American government. Yes, yes, it is. Okay. And so Bettina is also putting on an orientation there as well. Okay. And now I will take your questions. Stay, we get your questions. Is there, no, it's no password. It's not no password. Okay. So now for those that know how to raise your hand, just go down or you can put it in chat if you want the mic. Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, how do you feel about what you're hearing? Any thoughts you could put it in the chat? Super excited. Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited about where we're going with this. Really, really, really excited. We're ready. Yes. And remember, all of this is new. All of this is new. And let me just make sure. I want to piggyback off a comment that I saw where something about they're not about making money. We're not talking about the federation right now. We're talking about when men and women come back to the soil, like myself. I was a real estate broker. I was a real estate agent. We have to be trained to do our skills on the land. Just because you become an American state national doesn't mean you still don't need to make an income. So you need to be skilled in something so you can bring in income for your family. And somebody tells you something any different, they're wrong. Okay? You have to be skilled in something so you can make money on the land. And that's right now, if I see there is a challenge, that is the challenge because people come to the land and they try to disconnect from the system, but they don't know how to make an income on the land to keep their families going because right now that those monies haven't been released. None of that has happened. So what do you do? How do you get food for your family? Okay. How do you where do you move? All right. So that is very, very, very important. All right. Any more questions? Any more comments? All right. We have some people that's already papered up. Yes. Good to go. Okay. All right, well, you guys, well, that's all for tonight. And with that being said, we will see you all on the 26th for those that are interested. And we're going to keep this train moving. You'll be getting an email from me that's going to keep you abreast on as this train moves along. Okay? All right. Until next time. Bye.